38-22 run with the complimentary plays after giving you Texas over Baltimore on Friday night, and I've got another complimentary play for this Saturday card coming up in just a moment. Unfortunately, Friday the 13th definitely was unlucky for me yesterday, as I had a rare raise the bar 20-dime release, of which I had won 6 out of 7 over the past 2 weeks combined. But I was definitely on the wrong side of the Red Sox on the run line, minus $1.10 against the Toronto Blue Jays last night. But guys, listen, I am undeterred by one little loss, because the bottom line is this. Today, I'm still going for winning day number 15 out of 20 over the past 2.5 plus weeks. And I'm coming right back with another one of those raise the bar 20-dime releases, only the 14th such play I've had over the past 3 years. Because listen, I'm still on a roll, I'm still playing with my man's money, and I'm still going for the jugular today. But although that is one of the featured discounted plays today, it's not by far the biggest. I would have to give that honor to Jack Brayman, who is not only going for winning day number 8 out of 10, but as you know, he's been on a red-hot roll with the top-rated 100-dime releases. Yet another one last night with the Cubs over San Diego, which you got over half price off. Another one on Thursday with the Red Sox on the run line over Toronto. But today, he's got a big one. The 5th ever 200-dime double your wager baseball release of his career. It's on the night card. The Yankees and the Indians. He just had the 4th ever such play of his career. On Wednesday night, it was Atlanta, a $1.30 run line dog, getting the win 9-5 over Toronto. You got that play for over half price off. You've gotten all these 100-dime normal top-rated plays he's had for over half price off as well. And same thing goes tonight. Over half price off using coupon code JACK, his first name. All the other discounts, including the usual one for Saturday, where you can save 24% off your total purchase price. It's a mix and match coupon, good for any combination of handicappers, picks, and or packages. All that and more over on your homepage. So get them now. I don't have to tell you anything more than that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Before I get to your complimentary play, a little footnote in history today. July 14th, 1969. A counterculture film, I would have to call it. A terribly dated film, probably, if you ask me, because, hey, it was before my time. The movie Easy Rider was released on this day in 1969. A movie that was produced on a budget of about $350,000 to $400,000. It went on to make $60 million, which was a hell of a lot of money back in those days for the movies. 3rd in the USA in terms of movie grosses that year, making a little over $41 million in the USA. Number 1 that year in terms of U.S. box office, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, a well-deserved movie to lead the box office proceeds, making $102 million. Number 2 was Midnight Cowboy. Another terribly dated film, if you ask me, $44 million. But there was Easy Rider, number 3. I'll come back to that in a moment. I went ahead and I said to myself, hey, you know, back in that era, you didn't have as many films as released as you did today. You didn't have as many movie theaters. You didn't have the multi-screen complexes that you do today, or cineplexes. You had movies that stayed in theaters forever, as opposed to today. So I figured, let me see what the top 10 movies were for 1969. And after those top 3, you had Hello, Dolly. Yeah, number 4. Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, another terribly dated film, coming up next. Then you had the Western musical. Yes, a Western musical. Paint Your Wagon. Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood. Can't say I ever took the time to see that movie. Then you had a good one, True Grit, with John Wayne, of course, earning him his lone Oscar. Then you had Cactus Flower, a comedy starring Goldie Hawn. Think about it. Goldie Hawn and John Wayne both earned Oscars that year for their performances. Then you had a comedy, I guess you'd call it a comedy. Goodbye Columbus. I think it was Richard Benjamin starred in that. Then you had On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which of course you may recall, that was the first one that did not have Sean Connery, and it was before Roger Moore as well, and it was a terrible flop in the Bond series. So there you go. But back to Easy Rider. Just one of the greatest movie opening sequences ever, which of course you can queue up on YouTube if you so desire, starting with Steppenwolf's The Pusher, and then going right into Steppenwolf's Born to Be Wild. Just that opening 5.5-minute montage. The rest of the movie, as far as I'm concerned, I can't relate to it. It's just, as I said, a terribly dated film. But that opening 5.5 minutes is great. Steppenwolf's Born to Be Wild. I think about songs that, if I'm driving down the road fast and it's a sunny day and you want to crank up the music loud as you possibly can, there cannot be two greater songs, in my estimation, to start off with. Born to Be Wild and Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, two songs that you want to crank it up and really get the adrenaline pumped. That third song to finish that trio, I don't know. I mean, I constantly go back and forth because to me, you want a song that starts off, going 180 miles per hour. You want that song that gives you that instant adrenaline rush the minute you start. So that third song, I don't know, I constantly shift. I have a number of songs that I can fill that third hole, and I'm sure you do as well. I'd say go ahead and email customer service and send me your suggestions as your top three, but we'd probably have like 14,000 emails, and I don't know that they'd appreciate it. So, but you probably have your top three as well. But anyway, as I said, a terribly dated film starring Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper. But that first 5 minutes and 32 seconds, you can't beat it. That's for damn sure. Okay, let's get to your complimentary play here. First game, I think I have two of them today, right? Yeah, let me just look at the schedule here. Let me talk about the first one going at 4:10 Eastern Time, Philadelphia and Miami. Now, I was a little hesitant to go with Philadelphia yesterday with Jake Arrieta. I have no such qualms today going with Aaron Nola, who won his fourth straight start on Monday when he beat the Mets in New York with 7 innings of one-hit shutout ball with 10 strikeouts. His last 4 starts, his earned run average is 1.30. He lowered his earned run average on the season to 2.27. That's why he's an all-star. His road ERA with that great start at Citi Field dropped to 2.85 in 10 starts. He already won at Miami in his lone start against the Marlins this season back on May 2nd with 7 innings of 4-hit shutout ball in which he struck out 7. The Phillies have won 13 of his last 15 starts. Naturally, you have to play the Phillies on the run line in this one. You're going to be laying 1.5 runs to get them at the reduced price of -110. Phillies won last night's opener 2-0. They've now won 12 of their last 16 games overall. They've also gone 6-3 on this current road trip, and they've won 10 of their last 14 on the highway overall to take over first place in the NL East. The Marlins are going with Trevor Richards. His last start at Washington, on the surface, you see 3.2 innings he worked, and he gave up 2 runs. You take that line score out a little further, his pitching line, and you see that he walked 7 batters in those 3 2/3 innings. And in his 5 home starts this season, he has a 4.44 earned run average, and that's good enough reason for me, even though the Phillies have not been an offensive juggernaut here of late, to go ahead and lay the 1.5 runs with the Phillies and Aaron Nola. The other complimentary play, the Red Sox cost me last night when they lost 13-7 at home to Toronto. But listen, they had won 10 straight games going into that contest. They had averaged over 6 runs a game in that stretch. And they still put 7 on last night, but the pitching just failed them. I am more than willing to take a shot with the Red Sox again today, laying the $1.40 on the run line against a Blue Jays team that is still 6 games under 500 outside of Toronto this season. And the fact is, even though Boston lost last night, they still won 10 out of 11. They're still 36 games over 500 on the season. They are still 32-13 at Fenway on the year. And they're going with Eduardo Rodriguez, who they consistently give outstanding run support to on the year. In his last 12 starts, he's 8-3 with a more than respectable 2.82 earned run average. He's 2-0 with a 3.38 earned run average in 2 starts against Toronto this season. His last 2 starts, he's been superb. He beat Texas at home last Monday, 5 2/3 innings of work, 3 hits, no runs allowed. Start before that, it was at Washington on July 4th in a game that started at 11 o'clock in the morning. He got off to a rough start with his control, but he settled down, limited the Nationals to 3 hits, no runs over 6 innings. In 10 home starts this season, he's 6-2 with an earned run average of 3.63. The Red Sox have won 8 of his 10 home starts. They've averaged almost 6 runs a game in those outings at Fenway. On the year, the Red Sox have won 15 of his 18 starts. And I went through and I logged every single one of them. They've scored 101 runs in those 18 starts. That comes out to 5.6 runs a game. And again, they've been on this great offensive roll anyway over the last 11 games. The Blue Jays are going with Sam, I always got to make sure I pronounce his last name correctly. It's a pain in the ass, Gaviglio. The right-hander has an incredible home-road split. At home, he started 5 of the 7 games he's appeared at the Rogers Center, and he has a 1.97 earned run average. On the road, he's made 5 starts. 5 appearances, they've all been starts. His earned run average in them, 8.72. He's starting on 2 days rest. Why? Well, 2 reasons. Marco Estrada, they hoped to have started today, but he had to go on the disabled list yesterday. The other reason is his start 2 days ago on Wednesday, which I bet against him that day, he only lasted very, very short appearance in that one. I think he threw like 48 pitches in that game, so he was knocked out after 1 2/3 innings after giving up 6 runs at Atlanta in that Wednesday night start. So they're coming back with him today. The Blue Jays had to use 6 relievers last night, so their bullpen is going to be short. Why not go against them and lay the 1.5 runs with Boston in this spot? Of the 2 plays, I got to be honest with you, I like them equally. I mean, the Red Sox always give Rodriguez a lot of offensive support. The Phillies don't give anybody a lot of offensive support of late, but the way Nola has been pitching, how can you go against him in this spot? Maybe lean a little more toward the Red Sox, who I liked as my best bet last night. But again, I like them equally. Red Sox a slight edge among the 2 complimentary plays. That'll do it. Wish you well, and talk to you again tomorrow when we do this again.